we're back to the Vancouver dungeon. Right now we have Brian. Brian here. Brian used to be the promoter and owner of Rascals.
That's true.
Brian is, a lot of us would like to say, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the master, the guy who can actually tell you the be-all, end-all. This is the way to be kinky. This is the way to spank. This is the way to tie. This is the way to flog. Personally, yeah, no, fuck them. I'm just here to spank and flog. Right?
That's pretty true.
That's about right. So, Brian, tell me about your history with Rascals, and then tell me about what you're here to promote tonight.
Well, probably about 10 years ago, I started Rascals-Club.com. It was a BDSM party. I did it for 5 years and sold it. I think I'm the only person that's ever sold a BDSM organization for a profit. You too? Well, then the both of us. So we got a real small club.
Member of two, yes.
Member of two. For the last 5 years, I've been helping out at Sin City, just setting up the dungeon, show up, have a good time. And recently, a friend of mine, we've started an organization called Vancouver Underground, and we're putting on what's called Fetish Fridays. So it's a brand new event. It's a fetish night. We're doing it on Friday nights instead of Saturday, and we're doing it out in the suburbs.
Okay.
But aside from the whole promotion thing, about promoting your night, let's get past that. Let's talk about the scene in general. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll make this easy for you. Tell me what the scene was like 15 years ago.
Oh, that's good.
And then tell me what it's like now. How 15 years ago being kinky was terrible, and how now being kinky is stylish.
Well, back when I got started, there was only maybe 1 or 2 events a year. And then small events started showing up, and they were 1 a month. And it was really exciting because nobody really knew anything back then. We were just showing up in these dark little old warehouses with leaky pipes and one little 50-watt light bulb where you could hardly see your hand in front of your face. But it was so much fun because we didn't know any better. And it was so different. It's different than anything we'd ever saw. You always had your imagination of what you thought it might be like, but you were actually able to go to these events and have a great time. And slowly it's evolved. The events have become bigger. As things change over time, they become much more public, much more above the ground, and available to a lot of people. We now have probably one of the most prosperous fetish communities in North America here in Vancouver. We've got 3 fetish nights going, we've got dungeon parties, and the accessibility for everybody is phenomenal.
Would you say, compared to, let's say, 10 years ago, that the fetish SM community has become so out in Vancouver that it's almost mainstream?
Pretty close. Pretty close. Well, we've actually, I don't know all the details, but we've actually had legal precedent set in the courts for community standards in this province that make it legal, safe to do this.
So it comes down to that even in society-wise, people may not be into the kink society, but if you turn to them and say, I'm in the kink society, they're like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I drive a Ford and you drive a Dodge. They have now become accepting enough society-wise that, oh, you're into that, I'm not into that, but you're into that, okay, sure.
Definitely. We're very lucky here in BC. We can do a lot of things that they can't do in other parts of the world. So, you know, the way the events are run, being able to be topless at the events, it's just very open and safe and fun. Just an enjoyable situation to be in.
And you'd say that most of the events, or pretty well all the events in Vancouver, are safe and consensual and are all monitored to stay safe and consensual?
Oh, yeah.
That the whole kink scene is probably, on average, safer than most bars in Vancouver. Really, the fact that we keep an eye on each other and keep an eye on the people who show up, so there's no roofie coladas.
Definitely, you're right on. One of the the comments that I constantly hear from when I'm talking to different women, especially women that have come for the first or second time, is how comfortable they feel in the atmosphere, and they don't have a parade of drunk guys coming up to them all night long. So they're very comfortable there. They find it an enjoyable environment to be in, whether they're there by themselves or their boyfriend. It's just a really social, fun event. That's how the community is run. That's how all the events are run.
It's a great thing to have the weird drunk idiots outside to go, I'm in here because you're out there.
Definitely. You know, it's even for myself. I don't drink anymore. I don't drink alcohol anymore, and it's probably been 20 years since I had a drink. I still like to go out and have a good time. I can go out to these events, and I can have a great time, and you can socialize, meet people, dance, play in the dungeon if you so choose, and you know, that's how it is now.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for talking to us. As I've always said, you really are the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the kink scene here in Vancouver.
Well, I try.
Informative as always, trustworthy as always. If you go to Noir, MVK, any Vancouver DM team, Fetish Fridays, and of course Sin City, you will find this man here, who is the one person that unanimously all us promoters have said, oh no, they want to shut down. Oh, Brian's still there? Yeah, it's fine. Brian can keep running everything. We all trust him.